So we're going to talk now about how your brain works and everything. It's called the mind model. So I want to go back to the very beginning. So the sperm meets the egg and the cells start to form.
Is that the beginning?
That's the beginning. What's the first part of you that forms?
Brain. Yeah.
Brain. What
The
part
heart.
of the brain?
The stem.
The stem, close. Let's call it the unconscious mind. Because that's what your unconscious is. It's cells that are sending messages to one another. You know, those neurons going across the synapses, they're actually telling each cell to form you. So the message goes across. Form eyes today, make a heart today, make some ears, grow some hair. The unconscious that actually forms you. That's the job of your unconscious. It's body function. And it still does that now. We need to have that deep sleep, because during that deep sleep of unconsciousness, you're actually forming yourself. You're reforming, and we have an ex-nurse here, that's right, isn't it? We need that good quality sleep. Also, it looks after your immune system. So there's mother, she doesn't even know that she's pregnant yet. But, oh, I feel tired. Oh, there's something going on. Oh, then she finds she's pregnant. Take extra vitamins, extra supplements, because that little sucker is a little sucker. It's taking everything for its own immune system. Doesn't care for yours. Takes everything for itself. Again, you need to go into unconsciousness every night for 7 to 8 hours in order to build up your immune system. Remember your college days at the end of term? End of term, you've got the exams, you've got all the end of term parties. No sleep. When you get home to mom, oh, she says, I don't know what you do at that college, Beryl, but every time you come home, you're sick. Yeah, because I didn't get enough of that unconscious sleep for the last 2 weeks of term. Do you remember those days? Mm-hmm. Yes, we do. Now, the cell, and then around 20, 22 weeks, different countries say different things, but it's the point at which we no longer support abortion in any form. The cells are still dividing, but now the subconscious mind forms. And the subconscious mind is now forming the senses. That's why we don't allow abortion. It's not just a little body functioning thing. The senses are forming. This is when the mother starts talking to her baby. Oh, I think the baby wants this. There's some communication taking place. And the senses, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, gustatory. In hypnosis, I've taken people back into the womb, and they've known things, and they've checked with their mother. Is that true? And she says, how did you know? Well, I was there. I was listening in. I was watching. Okay? And our senses give us our feelings.
Give us what? Feelings.
Another word for feelings?
Emotions.
Emotion. And what do we say emotion is?
Energy. Energy in motion.
Energy in motion. And the energy in motion starts with the senses. Mothers, do you think your baby had feelings, emotion, even whilst in uterus?
Yeah.
Yeah? And would respond to the sound of father coming home, saying hello?
Of course.
And, yeah, of course. Now, so our senses give us an emotion. That emotion then brings up more senses. So let's take something simple like smoking. The smokers see someone smoking. Oh, someone's smoking. I get a feeling. I want a cigarette. That's talking to oneself. That's what I can smoke here. They're smoking. Oh, I feel like a cigarette. That's kinesthetic. I feel like a cigarette. I can start to feel the taste of a cigarette, makes me want more. That puts me into a state. That's what a state is. A state of, darn it, I'll go have a cigarette. So a state of anything. You know how yesterday we talked about good moods, bad moods, or whatever? It's a state. And it's created by the senses, forming emotions, going back to senses, and then we say, oh, I feel X or Y. That's what a state is. And that becomes our habit. So whenever that happens, oh, my body knows what to do. It's part of the protective factor of our subconscious mind. It protects us. It says, okay, anytime you want that feeling, you get those sensations, you get those feelings, I will give you this habit. Go have a cigarette, or eat the chocolate bar, or drive away from the argument. Yeah? It's part of that protective factor, and it has a good intention for you. So you might say, consciously, smoking's bad, or running away from the argument is bad. But the subconscious got into that habit, it believes it, it does it. It did you some good at the beginning, so you continue to do it. Because you don't have any other behavior. It has a good intention for you. But it's a little bit lazy. Maybe lazy isn't the right word here, but it's not exactly lazy. It just says, well, fix that problem. Whenever you want that feeling, whenever you want that state, I will give you this thing. This cigarette, or this chocolate bar, or this depressive feeling that sends me to bed, or whatever. I've solved that problem for you. My job is to solve whatever other problems are going on. Because I've got the behaviour for that. We're not our behaviour, we are our good intention. Now it goes even deeper into belief. Beliefs and values. I value this thing. I value this chocolate. I believe it does something for me. Because it does at this level of senses and feelings. Which is the core of our being, our senses and feelings. And once we have a belief and a value, and we express it and talk about it, we have that internal talk, that senses again. It's auditory. And it starts the whole circle off. That is the job of the subconscious mind. It's where feelings are. It's our EQ, our emotional intelligence. Now, the last part of our brain to form is our conscious. It's the one we send to school for 12 years, university for 3-4 years, master's programs and I don't know what. It's our conscious.
Do you want to sit here?
It's our IQ. At what age do you think our conscious comes in? If we say subconscious comes in at 22 weeks, about, what time does our conscious come in?
Birth. Oh, 6, 7.
You're a Muslim.
Window, yeah.
But Islam tells you that. Yeah, between 5 and 7 years old. You're from Germany. You start school at 7. Poland, 7. Yeah. The rest before that, hopefully they're teaching you emotional intelligence, how to deal with the world, how to communicate, how to sort out senses. You're from India. In India, send kids to school at 3 years old. Does that mean that they are 4 years ahead of the Germans? No, it means that by the time they're 7, probably sick of school. Whereas they're now able to learn fast, because they're 7. Between 5 and 7, there's time to start school. So what is this conscious mind? It's what Einstein said, you use only 10% of our brain. And yet we invest so much in 10% of our brain. What is the job of the conscious mind? that's different from this. What do we start doing between 5 and 7 years old?
Thinking.
Reading,
Learning.
writing.
Well, that's only because if we're taught to.
Yeah.
The brain, what does it do?
Starts making opinions and
Assimilating.
judgments, forming beliefs.
Assimilating knowledge, acquiring things.
Why do we send kids to school?
To learn.
To learn.
Analyze. They've already learned most of what you will need in life you've learned before you're 7 years old. We send them to learn to analyze and rationalize, criticize. Little kids are not critical. They just love everybody. Until
But
the
if
top,
they
don't
are-
do this, don't go there, don't go there. And we teach them to be critical. Yeah. It compares and contrasts.
But they do that at a younger age.
Not until they're taught. Don't play
Because
with
you
her,
put them
she's
in
only
the
got one eye.
environment. Even
Don't do that,
colours,
Dylan.
comparing colours, like playing with a jigsaw.
They don't compare, they just say, I like that colour. They're not comparing.
I'm saying, for example, if you've got a game out and there's the dark color and the light color, they can compare. They know that these two are alike and these are not similar.
Sorry. Because you're teaching them to do that. Compare doesn't mean I like this more than this. That's just that feeling, senses.
Not
Compare
liking.
means, for example, I remember when I was little, I liked this particular poem. And I put it to a little song, and I was going around the house, and my mother was saying, stop it. Stop it. And I just loved this little poem. Later on in life, I was given that poem to analyse, rationalise, criticise with some of the poet's earlier work and later work, compare it to another author, contrast it, etc., etc. I hated that poem then. Because it took all the feelings away from it. I had to be taught to analyse, criticise. That's why we send them to school. For synthetic learning. Yeah? They don't do it, they just, I like or I don't like. It's all about feelings and senses. It just doesn't feel right to me. Doesn't speak to me. Yeah? So, let's think again of that smoker or the chocoholic or whatever. They analyse the behaviour, they rationalise it, criticise, compare, contrast. They say, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to apply willpower. It's amazing how many people think willpower is a good thing. Willpower. Okay, so willpower now says, I'm not going to smoke. And this little voice comes up and says, well, but this is what we do and you don't understand. It satisfies this feeling. And no, I've got 2 hours without one. I'm feeling this way. It's because we're getting tense now. This is where tension is. This part's very relaxed. Oh, no. We know what we want. We know what we want. No. Well, we want this, yeah. And we have this battle going on between the conscious and the subconscious mind. Which one's going to win? The subconscious or the conscious? Subconscious. It's 90% of your brain. It's an army of 90 against an army of 10. And that's when we break down and have the cigarette or have the chocolate bar or do the thing that we
The
didn't
last
want to
one.
do. You know? So, kids are stubborn. Stubborn is not willpower. It's different. Willpower involves an analysing and rationalising. They're not doing that, but they're stubborn. I don't want, I don't like. Yeah, it's all about feelings.
Even though they are involved in
Yeah, because they'll stay with us. They stay with us. So if we want to make change, we're going to have to make it here. And that's where that trance state comes in. We want to get in here to make change. Not much change happens in this state. It's tense. And then it breaks down. Because this part with the good intention says, we must have that thing, or have that person, or whatever is their aholism of choice. So, we want to get in there. That's when it comes to trance, hypnosis, whatever. And that is the bypass of the critical factor of the conscious mind and the acceptance of suggestion of change in the subconscious mind. We can get there when we bypass the conscious. So with that story you were reading, Margot, it was bypassing your conscious. Your conscious was concerned about this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, your subconscious could read at that level. Okay. Now there's two ways to bypass the conscious mind. Relaxation or shock. Ooh. Some people have made amazing change in their lives through shock. Yeah? Big shock. Oh, then they
Shock.
see the light. And mostly when people come for some therapy, they expect relaxation. But we add some shocks.
What's shock?
In there.
Like bad news or what?
Electric shock.
Well, let me tell you a story. My husband told me. He was a doctor, and he was doing some medicals. And in the days when everybody smoked and didn't really understand the dangers of smoking, there were two guys coming in for their results. And they're both smokers, and they both had aching legs. And one, let's call him Joe, was saying, I don't know, I think the doctor's going to say, this bad leg is because of smoking. I think he's going to tell us to quit smoking. Oh, no, that's rubbish. No. It's nothing to do, it's just bad legs. We'll be fine. So the one guy goes in, he says, look, it's like this. If you don't quit smoking, we're going to have to cut that leg off. That's a really bad thrombosis. But you can save that leg if you quit smoking now. For the one who hadn't thought about this, it's such a big shock. He quits there and then, never touches a cigarette. Because he gets this flash of of what's going to happen to his life. The other one who was talking about, I think it's like this, Fred. You quit smoking, we're going to cut off that leg. Oh, Doc, that's hard. I do like the smoking. Oh, are you sure? I thought you were going to say that. I do like my ciggies. He didn't quit smoking, and they did chop his leg off. It wasn't a big enough shock for them. Does that answer your question? Yeah. There are people that climb mountains.
Sorry, that's a
They
true
fall and horrible things happen to them, they never want to climb mountains again. Some, they were kind of expecting that the odds were that I'd have a fall like that anyway, but I'm going to continue climbing mountains.
So is it the thought that makes them fall?
No, just had a thought, but they just fell. Accidents happen.
No, you're saying
It's
some
not
are
sh-
expecting it. So is that pulling the energy, the negative?
Well, no, they weren't expecting it, but every time you go to climb, you get your safety equipment, you check it, so that you won't.
So you're thinking about it.
Yeah?
Because you always hear people that have, like, say, they're in a plane accident and they're a survivor.
Mm-hmm.
And because they've survived and everybody else died, they've gone on to completely change their life because it's kind of shocked them into, what am I doing here?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's how your mind works.
Such a mess.
It's actually a system. Remember we talked about systems. It's a fantastic system.
Basically an emotional shock.
And that's the mind model.
Can you create a shock? You can't, right?
Yeah. Richard Bandler is always creating shocks. He swears like a trooper. Shocks people. I sometimes shock people.
How? By doing
You were telling me how when you came to see me, you said, that woman. You were so angry when you left that something happened. And the next day you realized that she needed a shock,
It's like
To make the change.
Wake up call.
a wake-up call. Yeah? Because everybody else you've been to was just doing this. I realised that having worked, you needed some of that. Sometimes we need a shock to
Staying in
change
the
our
comfort
minds.
zone.
That's right.
What again? Sorry?
When you're in the relaxed state, you just stay in your comfort zone. It's like, oh, I'm happy there. I'll stay there.
You know how to get
I'm
there.
happy there, I'll just stay there, it's my comfort zone. Yeah, the good intention, the protective factor. Needed to be shocked to make that change. It's cool stuff.